Hey folks, Jim here, aka Pilot of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the newest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop a comment down below. Love hearing back from you guys, and it goes an absolute massive way to help the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue 28 of Imperium magazine, and we get about 50% of the Necron warriors and Scarab swarms. We'll get the other set next week. Pretty easy to build, pretty easy to go through. We've had some before. So on the sprue I've got in particular, I've got the 2 Scarab swarms and 4 Necron warriors. The rest will be next week. So yeah, something to kind of get going with, have a bit of fun with, and kind of might as well make a start on them before the rest turn up and you get overwhelmed. But yeah, really good, and it's going to build up your Necron army fantastically. So of course we're greeted by Necron warriors as our main page in the first page in the magazine. So in life, Necron warriors were the common citizens of the Necron tier race. The act of biotransference has transformed them into near mindless killing machines, utterly enslaved to the wills of their uncaring noble masters. So after biotransference, some Necrons, most notably nobles, and the great artisans, engineers and scientists who would become cryptechs, retained at least a portion of their memories. The commoners and peasants of the Necron tier race were not so fortunate. So essentially, with the biotransference going from a living body to these living metal android bodies, the Necron tier gave up a lot of their soul, personality, their memories and stuff like that as well, just so they were transformed and become immortal. These immortal warriors. Probably not the brightest move that they could have made, but you know, needs must when you want to dominate a galaxy, I suppose. So biotransference was taught to the Necron tier race by the Old Ones, which are a race of godlike beings known as Catan. True to the word, the Catan gave Necrons immortality, but in doing so consumed their souls. And whilst Necron nobles received grand, extravagant and deadly forms, commoners and peasants were given the crudest forms possible, and would just serve as foot soldiers, cannon fodder and much more for the arrogant rulers. It is what it is. So we also have a battle record as well that we can use for the phalanx and everything to do with our good old new Necron warriors. Entirely up to you if you are going to follow through with it or change anything up. You get to name them, you get to give them their battle damage, the gifts of the Aeons, much more. Utilize it with your current set, and you know, 20 Necron warriors and 6 Scarab swarms is actually a pretty good number and quite worth fielding in your games. Then we get information about the Relentless March. So upon countless worlds across the galaxy, Necron armies are on the attack. Imperious Necron nobles send forth their legions to reconquer their former territories by whatever means necessary. So the Necrons are best known and feared by their enemies for rising up from beneath their very feet. Countless civilizations have unwittingly settled on worlds that conceal Necron tombs beneath the surface. Whether triggered by Chronostat or the Tomb Master's program detecting intrusive life forms, those hidden sleepers awake. So we know much more about the Tomb Worlds than it really kind of giving us credit for there. The Tomb Worlds are spread out across the galaxies. There are many of them. There are countless numbers of them. They were all disappeared from the face of the Earth, from essentially recognition and record. There are more than most people would realise, and some are still in that kind of sleep hibernation, and a lot of them are starting to wake up and kind of kick in and kind of start trying to take back their worlds. Now, these worlds have been settled by many, such as mankind, orcs, the Tau, the Eldari, pretty much anything and everything may have settled on a tomb world, and might get a nice horrible surprise at the end of it if they just manage to trigger some of their kind of programs and their intruder alerts. On the next page we get some more information about Blackstone. So Blackstone is an is so named because it is mined from smooth, dark deposits similar in appearance to onyx or obsidian. To the Imperium, the scientific readings that it gives off are bewildering. To the Necron cryptex, however, they make far more sense. So, there is an object called Blackstone. Blackstone, you may know of, and you may have heard of Blackstone Fortress, for instance, which is the Warhammer Quest game set in the 41st millennium. And Blackstone is a substance that gives off very, very strange readings to most people. However, some of the races are able to kind of understand a little bit more about its origins, its purposes, and what it can be used for. Then we get some more information about the Skitarii Legion. So, Skitarii are soldiers of the Machine God, and form the armies that answer to the tech priests of the Cult Mechanicus. They glory in their augmented forms, granted the knowledge by their masters that each calculated kill and every victory is achieved under the unblinking gaze of their deity. So, the Skitarii warriors are warriors made. Many were once part of the numberless pools of forcibly indentured labourers or else that grown in mass flesh farms. No matter their origin though, those who serve their forge world as Skitarii are zealously loyal and fanatically devoted to the Cult Mechanicus. So yeah, so with the Skitarii are, in a roundabout way, in a lot of kind of understanding, are very, very similar to the Necrons in a lot of way. So, the Skitarii are the Necron warrior versions of mankind. So they follow the tech priests, who command them and lead them around, like the Necron nobles would the Necrons, and kind of they undoubtedly kind of go for it. However, they are also partly still flesh, so they do still have some human qualities about them, which is why they are an ally of the Imperium of Man. We also get some more information on the back, and we also get some artisanal apparatuses. So we have the galvanic rifle sketched out here, which looks pretty cool and is very nicely detailed. We also have an arc rifle and the transuranic arquebus as well, which is pretty cool and looks pretty cool as well. It's pretty good. So yeah, not bad at all. Always nice to see a bit more detail and a bit more lore behind our good old warriors that we're getting from a lot of different factions. We're going to get some more really, really cool ones in the near future as well, which I'm really, really going to look forward to some of the really good stuff that we're going to get. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. Then you've got your how to build guide. How to build guide, in all honesty, you can't go wrong with it. Follow it, you've done it before. Have a bit of fun with it. So you have 40mm bases for the Scarab Swarms. One of them Scarab Swarms will be coming next week. And then we have the Gauss Flayer or the Gauss Reaper as your weapons. My tip would be, so you can tell the difference between the two different phalanxes that you've got, is have to use both weapons. Don't go just for the Gauss Flayer unless you really, really want to. Go for your Gauss Reaper. You can have 10 with the Gauss Reaper, 10 with the Gauss Flayer, and you can utilise them very, very differently. And they'll look pretty cool at the same time, and they'll be a bit more uniform as well. But have a bit of fun with it. Personally, I went Gauss Reaper last time, so I'll be using the Gauss Flayer this time round to paint up all of these new ones. Otherwise though, very, very straightforward. You're not going to go wrong, I'm sure. And when you're done with it, I mean, you will need some of that build guide for next week as well, so do not forget about that. And you'll have your 10 Necron warriors and your 3 Scarab Swarms in no time at all. Then we have our rules of engagement and more of our cool rules. So, for instance, here we have a unit coherency. A unit that has more than one model must be set up and finish any sort of move as a single group. All models within 2 inches horizontally and 5 vertically of at least one other model from their unit. While a unit has 6 or more models, all models must be instead within 2 inch horizontally and 5 vertically of at least 2 other models. So for instance, if you have a unit and it is literally 3 units, so for instance the destroyers, the Scorpec destroyers from the Necrons, they have to be within 2 inches of each other horizontally and 5 vertically, so you can have one on top of a crate and then the other 2 side by side on the other side, like each side of it if you wanted to, and you can do a few things like that. So, but they all have to be within a range of each other. For instance though, with the Necron warriors, if you were using the Necron warriors, you have to be a little bit more coherent. They have to be moved as a bit more of a blob than most other kind of units. So because you've got 10 of them, they all have to be close to each other. So you'd have to have, for instance, you could have one on top of a crate, but then it has to be within 2 inches horizontally of 2 more minis. A little bit more tricky, but can be really, really good. But it all kind of makes more sense when you go up to other rules like your charge rule and much more, and then it kind of works out better for you. So have a good read of it, try to make sure you understand it, and then you'll be good to go in a lot of ways. We get a lot more of the advanced rules as well, so we get terrain features as well, so whether they are obstacles, area terrain, hills as well, so you can have hills on your battlegrounds if you wish to. You won't be getting a battle map with any hills, but if you wanted to and you made a table for it, which you can actually incorporate hills into there as well, and yeah, not too bad. So you could create freestanding hills if you wanted to. There are instructions online of how to do that, literally with some cardboard, paper mache and stuff like that as well if you wanted to, and or even just foam, and you can make an actual freestanding hill that you can use on your tabletop, which will be pretty decent in some cases. But yeah, really, really good stuff. So your terrain can kind of change and be unique as well. You will also have buildings, so we get some buildings later on in a few issues time, which will have, for instance, these. So these destroyed, burnt out husks of buildings add a lot more to it as well. So you got these kind of like floors and walls that also use as kind of ways of defending yourself, and you can kind of hide behind it and use it as cover, and much more. So we also get some more of traits for terrain as well, so whether it's defensible, breachable, and much more. And yeah, so all your different terrain types are kind of mentioned on here. So this is your Imperium terrain, which include your ruins, armoured containers, and ruined walls. And we also do have barrels, crates, plasma conduits, heliotrope reactor, and much more as well. So we will get some more of them back, them kind of like tubes that we'll get at some point later on, and we've already had enough of the barrels and enough of the crates. We're not going to get any more of them, but we will get some more of these bits, which would be pretty cool to see. Then we have our scout for our next mission that we can get going with. For this one, it is a supply cache assault, so you'll have your 3 containers in your middle of your battlefield, deploy on either side, and you use 20 Necron warriors going up and 1 overlord going up against 5 assault intercessors, 3 aggressors, and 1 primaris lieutenant. Have fun with it and enjoy it though, but yeah, have a bit of fun with it. Pretty good one, and enjoy. So of course next week we get the other part of our Necron warriors and scarabs, and we'll also get the painting guide, which you've pretty much already done before. You're not going to go wrong. And when we get in issue 30, Mephiston red and Mornfang brown. Yeah, a couple of paints, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, not too bad. And then we get some really good stuff later on. So some pretty good issues still to come. We have some pretty cool units still to come, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye now.